As we go through the dark night of the soul, we tend to come in with it with a few misconceptions. Of course, we're lost, aren't we? We're lost, we're lonely, we're scared, and we're feeling pain. And this breeds a mind that is not so trustworthy, that we shouldn't necessarily instantly believe, because it can throw lots of wobblers on the path for us. For example, these 5 biggest misconceptions that I'm about to go into. So let's jump in, if you're interested, to the 5 biggest misconceptions that I see with clients and that I've seen and witnessed in my own journey. The biggest misconception that we seem to have about the dark night of the soul is that as the dark night of the soul draws to an end, we have this belief inside of us that, oh, I'll never feel pain again. And this is a huge misconception, because of course you'll feel pain again, especially after the worst of the pain. Life gets a little bit easier on us, doesn't it? The pain starts to subside, the emotional pain in the belly starts to subside, and we're less prone to bouts of emotions. But the pain doesn't go. It will never leave us, and thank God, really, because the pain, for me at least, it drives you. The pain creates inside of you this insecurity, doesn't it? And that insecurity then makes you grow. Without it, I genuinely believe, we wouldn't grow. We'd become lazy. The pain still in my life is my biggest fueler of growth. So there's the first misconception, that when the dark night of the soul is over, that we won't ever feel pain again. It isn't like that. When we leave the dark night of the soul, so to speak, we're almost increasing our spectrum of feeling. Yes, we're very deeply feeling pain, and we're still open to feeling pain even if we're out in the dark night of the soul, but also our spectrum then increases. The deeper the darkness, the higher the light, right? And we're just increasing this spectrum of what we can feel through our nervous system. And that's the spiritual journey, having a supernatural ability to feel everything and be okay with it. The second misconception that we have about the dark night of the soul is that pain is a bad thing. Pain isn't a bad thing. Like I mentioned a moment ago, I only know this from my journey, pain makes me grow. Whenever I'm stagnating in my life, life will give me the gift of a little bit of pain. It's like fuel, isn't it? Just to say, look, here's where you're letting yourself down, here's where you can grow. And I'm like, wow, thanks life, thank you for this pain, so that I can see where it is that I need to step up my game, improve. If you're still feeling pain, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the dark night of the soul anymore, But it does mean that perhaps if we're feeling a bit of pain, and it's not like reoccurring pain for the same reason constantly, and I mean emotional pain, then it's usually life saying, look, here's where you need to step up, brother. We have this divine life planned for you, and right now this pain is needed so that you get your act together. And I know that from my life. Like, none of us are perfect. We're all constantly going through crisis after crisis after crisis on this journey. But it's good that that's happening. We're expanding and contracting, aren't we? We're expanding with our emotions, and then contracting with the pain, and then we're expanding, we touch bliss inside ourselves. And it's this constant pulse between contraction and expansion that creates this deeply sensitive nervous system in which we feel more of life, rather than being scared of a little bit of pain, because it's just life's gift saying, here you go, here's where you need to grow. It's just how are we using that pain? At least that's my experience of it. Number 3, this seems to be the big one that gets a lot of people. But the third biggest misconception is that the dark night of the soul ends in some awakening experience of bliss and ecstasy. And it doesn't work like that. Not in my experience anyway. The dark night of the soul is gradual. You're alone in the dark night of the soul. Usually you're put alone for a reason, so that you can work on yourself and become a better person. And the pain's there to nudge you into doing that. The pain's not a punishment. The pain's there to say, you know, you have a vision for your life, and life knows that vision. But to get there, you need to change. You need to become a better human and step up to the plate, or maybe even become more human, you know, and step up to the plate. So pain's there so that we can see that pain and be like, oh right, okay, that's connected to that. All right, I need to improve in that area of my life. Oh right, oh, I believe I'm not good enough. Well, where I'm going, this divine plan that I have for myself and my life, where I'm going, I can't take that there. I can't take this junk belief, this I'm not good enough belief with me, because it's going to weigh me down. And it's like operating off of an old iPhone operating system. It needs an update. So pain's here for us to update, so we get iOS 10 or 11 or I don't know, whatever we're on now, something crazy. Pain's a good thing, and it doesn't end. The Dark Night of the Soul doesn't end with this huge awakening experience. It's gradual. It's gradual, so that we notice the pain for what it is, and then gradually improve our life until the pain goes. But when the pain does go, don't expect life to be pain-free forever. Pain will come back, of course. You know, I'm not wishing this upon anyone, of course, but if our family members die or our dog dies, we're going to feel extreme sadness. Pain is a fact of life. But then with pain also comes great joy. Don't be afraid of pain. It's not a bad thing. The fourth biggest misconception. There's no big red button on the internet that you can push and make the pain go away. This is why I make these videos, is because like I get that so deeply. Look, I can make the landing a little bit softer, I can pick your mood up, hopefully that's the intention of these videos, and bring some clarity in the dark night of the soul, but I can't do the work for you. There's no big red button on Jamie's channel that you get to push for the dark night of the soul to just end. It doesn't work like that. It takes time. This is the misconception. It takes time and it takes practice. If you're not engaging in what we call in yoga sadhana, meaning the daily spiritual practice that enlivens and awakens your system and clears your karmic crap enough so that you can bring your highest version into yourself and reach the highest possibility in your life. This is sadhana. And if you're not engaging with the sadhana, which is usually yoga, but then we move more deeply, probably in the dark night of the soul, to pranayamas. If we're not engaging with this, our lives won't change. We'll be stuck in the pain for years and years and years and years and years, and we'll forget that the pain was a cycle, and we'll just think, oh, this is the way that life is, painful. Well, no, it isn't. It's just the start of a cycle where you need to pick up some sadhana. This is now the start of your spiritual journey, the start of where the real work needs to begin. Yes, we've had a spiritual awakening maybe before, and that's brought on the dark night of the soul, but now's where the real work starts. And if you want to know what the real work is, down below you're more than welcome to join me on some one-on-one coaching. I'm loving it. There's an application form, it's free to apply. I can't guarantee that I'll have a space for you, just because sometimes the application forms are a bit out of whack, and you know, sometimes I can't help you, and I won't charge you if I can't help you. I'll always let you know. But the application's free if you wish to have it down below. Of course, as well, there's a free guided breathing practice that you can use, totally free. You can sign up, there's a link below. It will awaken some oxygen, awaken some bliss, some ecstasy in the system, so that if we're having a down day or if we're going through the dark night of the soul, we can just bring some clarity. We can nourish the system, nourish the nervous system in a sense, in a way that will sort of pick you up, sort of take you out of one of those moods that we seem to get in the dark night of the soul. Of course, as well, if you're going through an awakening experience and you're in the dark night of the soul, it can be very isolating. And because you don't have anybody to talk to right now about your awakening experience, that anybody that will understand, there's a free community down below. It's a private Facebook group. You're more than welcome to sign up. It's absolutely free. It's my gift to you. I'll never charge you for it. Back to the video. Advert done. Number 5. The reason we're in the dark night of the soul is because we need to improve as a human. You know, we have this vision, we have this idea of what we want from life, and life is saying with the dark night of the soul, you're so lucky, so cherished, so loved, you can have this vision. But now that you've asked for this vision of life, this different life for yourself so strongly, life is now kicking you in the arse to say, if you want it, here's the changes you need to make. The pain is there as a reminder, all right, this is what I need to change. You'll know what these are in your life. But the biggest misconception, the fifth biggest misconception, excuse me, while I just pick my nose on camera, the fifth biggest misconception, and I know this in my life, is that we can just carry on our old way of life. We can carry on our old habits in the dark night of the soul and still get to this amazing vision that we have for our lives. It doesn't work like that. You've asked life for a change of circumstances, and because it's give and take, you're totally connected to life. Life is now saying, then you need to change your habits, your negativity, your gross, dense mind, you know. And I only know this from my journey. I'm not saying this to judge or make you feel bad, and this is why I've taken so long to hold off and not do this video for a while, because this needs to be done right. But you have to change. You can't carry on going off that old operating system, which is probably filled, if you're not aware of it yet, you'll become aware of it, filled with, likely, if you're on these videos with me, Law of Attraction's brought us together because we have the same pathway, and likely filled with control, with perhaps a bit of dishonesty, perhaps you have negative habits in the form of obsessive thoughts, of maybe addiction, addicted to certain things and then addicted to things that maybe are more sinister. Maybe we have an alcohol addiction, perhaps marijuana, or whatever it is in you. You know, these things are the things that have to change if we want this vision of our life that we've asked life for to come to fruition. If we don't change, like life is asking us to, with the pain, then we don't grow. We continue our life, we give up our responsibility, and we just blame life. That life's the reason why I'm in this muck. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And I only know this from my life. It's our fault. You know, not like to blame ourselves, because that's pretty violent, isn't it? To then say, it's my fault, because then we can go off in a very morose sort of, I give up on life sort of thing. Don't worry, I've done it myself. You can do it if you want to, but it doesn't serve you. We have to take responsibility for our life, don't we? We have to take responsibility for the changes that we want to make. And I'm learning this big style in my life right now. I'm no different. So, there's the 5 biggest misconceptions. I hope I did this justice, and that I don't make you depressed in what I say, even more depressed than you already are perhaps if we're in the dark night of the soul. I hope for this to be inspiring, so that we really see and gain clarity and realise, right, I'm the one that needs to change. Let me change. You know, life isn't to blame. You've asked life for a new life. Life saying, alright, here's a bit of pain, here's my gift to you, I'm answering your calls, here's my gift, so that you can see where the pain is, see why the pain's there. What is it that I need to change? What am I doing inside of myself to create this negativity inside of myself? Alright, now I'll change it. And the best way to do that, because we can't consciously change sometimes without the awareness that sadhana brings, is to do some sadhana. Pick up your daily practice. And if you want, there's some stuff down below for you to help you engage with that. I hope this helps, and have yourself a really lovely day.